Hi everybody, in this video I am going to help you demystify flow cytometry, which can be a very confusing topic. So we are going to start off with the basics here, and this helped me start to get my bearings with flow. It is very complex. There are many different ways to think about it, both in the way that it's simply run and also with all the information that you can obtain from it. So this is just a very simple overview of how to kind of focus in on looking at the chart when you first start looking at them on your rotations. So I'm going to zoom in here. So when you first think about flow cytometry, there are a couple of important points to consider. The first thing you want to know is that what the axes are valuable and how they are valuable in terms of giving you important information. So this way over here is the one that you want to think about, the side scatter one. That allows you to know how many granules a certain molecule, or sorry, a certain cell will have. So the more granules, or the higher the granularity of that cell, the more side scatter you will see. The CD45 gate, which is on the forward axis here, is going to be important to let you know the size of the cell. So the bigger the size of the cell, the more to the right that is going to be. And so here we can kind of see there are different gates that you are going to hone in on when you look at these different parts of the graph. So we'll start here with the smallest cell with the least amount of granules, and that is going to be our erythroid gate. So our erythroid gate here is going to be important because we are going to have certain kinds of cells hanging out here. So the cells that are going to hang out here are going to be our erythroid precursors. We're going to have our megalokaryoblast. Remember, that says megalokaryoblast. We're going to have our erythroblast. And as well of importance clinically, we're going to see our lymphoblast, which we're going to see sometimes in our, or we'll sometimes see the lymphoblast of our acute lymphoblastic leukemias. And then, of course, we're going to see our neoplastic plasma cells. So that's probably the most relevant one that you're going to have to be aware of on your rotations, is the presence of the neoplastic plasma cells. So we'll go over a little bit further here, and we'll start up over here with the molecules, or sorry, I keep saying molecules, the cells that have the most granules in them, and that tend to be about medium size. So this here is our DIM45 gate, or we can call it our granulocyte gate. So these ones are important because they're cells with, of course, increased scatter due to high amounts of granules. And so the highest one here that we're going to see is the eosinophils. We're also going to see the neutrophils, and then very importantly, we're going to see the cells of APML. So if you see blasts and they are coming out in this region, then you want to be thinking of APML, which is acute promyelocytic leukemia. And so if we go down further, I said that this was, I said that was the DIM45. Okay, so this down here is technically our blast gate. This gate over here, that's going to be our blast gate. So our blast gate is going to contain both the basophils, which are, of course, are normal, and then this is also going to contain the myeloid and lymphoid blasts. Okay, so that's very important to be aware of, and this is going to be a gate that is going to be highly monitored when you're looking for acute leukemias. Also, you can see plasmacytoid dendritic cells, and then very rarely you're also going to see neoplastic plasma cells sitting in this gate. So blast gate, very high yield. Underneath the blast gate, what we have is the hematogones. So the hematogones are going to be hanging out over here, and then you're also going to see the B and T lymphoblasts potentially in that area as well. And next, we're going to move over to our biggest cells that we have that we're studying and monitoring. So this is going to be our monocyte gate up here. It's going to have a bright 45, and then this is going to include monocytes, monoblast cells for cell leukemia. You're going to see dysplastic granulocytes over here. So if you're thinking about dysplastic cells, you want to see them coming out in this region potentially. And then also underneath the monocyte gate, which is also another bright gate, we have our lymphocyte gate. So these are where our lymphocytes are hanging out. So this is the bright CD45 area as well. So these are where our lymphocyte cells are going to be hanging out, as well as our lymphoma cells and our LGLs, or large granular lymphocytes. So that's a very kind of broad overview, and I know that can still be a little bit confusing at times. So what you want to do is use that as a primer and start to think about the different areas of the chart and let that be a guide as to which cells you are looking for in those areas. So just generally here, there are going to be certain markers that we're going to associate with different lineages. So when you think about myeloid, you want to associate that with MPO. And of course, the easy way to remember that is going to be simply just M and M. So myeloid has an M and MPO starts with an M. Don't get that confused with monocytic, however, because monocytic has a different set of markers. So it can be 2 or more of CD11C, CD64, which I think is the most standout one here, and then CD14. Next we have our T cells. So these are going to be the lower number markers. So cytoplasmic CD3 and surface CD3 are specific markers for T cells. B cells, this is where it starts to get a little bit more confusing, but you can have a strong CD19 with CD79A, cytoplasmic CD22, and CD10, or you can have a weak CD19 with 2 of the following, again CD79A, cytoplasmic CD22, or CD10. And some important markers of immaturity are going to be listed here. So we have CD34, TDT, CD99, CD10, CD1A, and HLA-DR. And you will certainly become familiar with all of these markers as you go along your heme path rotations. And I think that this is how I would think about it if I were starting my rotation all over again. I hope this helps. Let me know if you have any questions. I am happy to answer them. And of course, have a great day. Bye.